name in Swedish CS on this map. Now it's your turn. Come at me. I mean, admittedly, NIP aren't entirely Swedish anymore, but the point stands.
Yeah, I'm not sure how much I love this veto. Honestly, I think the confidence might end up playing against DomiNation. Inferno especially is a really strong map for GODSENT. They've won 9 of their last 10 games on it. And the one loss that they had was against OG, and they had actually just beat them. So it was like adjustments and such that OG made based on their performance they had. Yeah, I mean, on defense and a lot of double
Kamion getting a couple of very good kills, finally put down by Rusty, but buys the 2-on-2, buys a little bit of space for that con push as well. MSM wanted it, bails out of the idea. A little bit of carnage in towards the connectors, bought a 2-on-2, but ZTR is having none of it. MSM peeks straight on in, it's a free kill. And at this point, Aaron in need of a little bit of a clutch miracle here. Rusty's got good util, so ZTR, but they're not going to use any of it. Clean one tap on the P250. GODSENT win the pistol. It's probably worth mentioning at this point as well. GODSENT traditionally extremely CT-sided on this map, and DomiNation traditionally a little T-sided as well. So both teams started on arguably their worst sides of the two. Overpass been very CT-leaning recently as well. So if you do see the scores getting a little bit skew-if towards the end of the first half, might not necessarily be the end of all beings for GODSENT.
Yeah, I was just looking, surprising how CT-sided GODSENT are, but
yeah,
they can
really heavy leaning.
Yeah, if they can even get the 5 or 6 here on this D side, then that means that they'll probably be okay. But yeah, anything above that, and they'll be looking real good. Obviously, it's very early days. Heavy on the rifles as well right now with 4 Galils, 1 AK, but they are going to be getting pushed in from behind here on A.
They've gone silent.
Too long, they could have gotten caught off guard maybe, but as you said, they started walking. And even if they didn't, it would have been noted by Joel, who would have called it over, and either way, he's going to get himself killed here now, being swarmed down the ladder. Didn't quite get that 3rd frag, unfortunately, and hands a Galil over. That's probably all it's going to be. They can try for another exit or 2, try and do a tiny bit more damage, but it's going to be GODSENT's round no matter what.
Tagged out Draken, and, well, Plopsky will go down as well. Coolio taking another name. Like Galil absolutely ringing off. And, I mean, this is getting hellishly expensive now for GODSENT, given that they brought, as you said, a very rifle-heavy buy into this round. ZTR now dinked up as well. They've got to start thinking about exit plans, and rather rapidly, because you can see Coolio, he doesn't mind losing a Galil to this fight as long as he takes one away. He's actually going to make his way all the way to the site at this point. We'll finally start to bail out and look for an exit. But given how many rifles you saw this T side bring in, the fact that Kamion gets away with an AK-47 and GODSENT only survived with 2 Galils, I mean, that's a pretty fantastic result for a full USP save.
Yeah, they're not going to be displeased with that anyway. But see now if they can capitalize as they come straight onto the rifles. Only the 2 left standing for GODSENT, so all of the reinvestment leaves them with pretty much nothing likely here in the reserve. Draken has a little bit. Popsky has a small amount as well, but that's all. So there is a chance, as you said, for DomiNation now to capitalize on that damage and get themselves going here in the early stages. They need to. You don't want to give too much over to this T side of GODSENT. As you stressed, it's the CT where we expect them to have most of their success. Every round here on the T side will be a massive help. Slower default as well, knowing they're up against the guns here now. GODSENT don't really want to push the issue too much. They're perhaps even expecting some early aggression, and well, they're not going to quite find it. Instead, Badito playing around that smoke, waited for Draken to step into his crosshair, put him down, and well, just immediately falls back towards the bomb site to play a very passive hold.
It's a really nice opening set, and it's going to almost force the hand of GODSENT, who've now got to try and barrel in fast towards this B bomb site. Kamion does very well, though, a kill and a half in terms of damage. Popsky's down on 5 HP, and that'll force, again, a rethink of the plan for GODSENT. 55 seconds, they're calling on the fly. Popsky down on 5. They've got 1 player, Rusty, just having a little bit of a poke up on the upper site to see if maybe he can catch the kill. It is a heavy-handed stack from DomiNation down towards B. MSN trusted to be that solo hold. We saw it a lot on map 1 of their series against NIP. Trusted heavily with the lean on Inferno, as now they're hoping that this has drawn half a rotation away and they'll be able to trade into the site. But as Aaron deals with a high HP player, it's Plopsky alone. 5 health, nothing he can really say or do about this, knowing there's probably a con player as well ready to take Rusty out of the fight. They're just going to have to back away from the situation. DomiNation doing a fantastic job of locking this one down. Badito even taking Plopsky out and leaving just Rusty saving an AK.
Yeah, he should at least be allowed to do so. That's the only positive I can find right now. No one's going to be hunting him too much anyway. 3 weapons left standing for DomiNation. They wanted to keep them all up in play if possible, and they've done so. 3 AKs. That's going to be a nice addition to the defense. As we had mentioned going into that previous round, though, it was not a bonus at all for GODSENT. Plopsky had like 1400, so he is 3100 now, and Draken just about has enough to scrape out an AK if he wants, and they probably will go for it with a couple players on a double eco. A chance to keep the pressure on to try and return here quickly on DomiNation. Stop them from really building any sort of momentum. It's exactly why we're going to get this pause as well. They're chatting about how exactly they're going to use what they'll have, I suppose. If they're going to buy, that is. I would presume so. An eco would be weird since 2 players are on a double eco. So yeah,
Got to imagine you'll see the Force Avenue, and yeah, it starts to come through then. Took their time with it, had a good old think. Question is, what's the call? What's the secret back pocket play to try and nab this round away with limited firepower to work with? DomiNation looking for a con play. A couple of players pushing the issue as Kamion is spotted out in the opening moments. Right side of the tunnel causes a slightly wayward smoke as well. Kamion will be a little bit cautious of that as Joel taking some big damage and will in fact go down to Aaron in amongst Connector. And you're seeing a very similar style here from DomiNation as you saw in the previous round. They get that opening pick and almost immediately they're starting to think about exit strategies. They're starting to think about getting their remaining players out. You can see Badito working his way top con now. They managed to escape Aaron out the back through short as well. So just looking to set after they get that opening pick, immediately back to the sides, back to safety.
Just as they did in the previous round. It was Badito, I believe, who opened the time before. Now it's Aaron who gets a little bit of the action. Both of them were very impressive in that series against NIP. See them starting off positively here as well. It is a good sign for anyone who wants a competitive matchup between these two. Dio's hanging around on this mid smoke. Thankfully, the focus mostly for now seems to be over towards long. Will begin to back away just as the bathroom controls coming in. Never mind, he peeked in from Guardian and gets absolutely dropped by Rusty.
Starts to get tough now.
Yeah, I was going to say it will prompt the push-up connector, though, it looks like.
Timing on that could well decide this round, if we're being honest. The rotations are starting to make their way here. MSN's going to get the support of Coolio, but it'll be a 2-on-4 inside of the site, so it's going to be on to that con play to really get the backstab working. Nice flashbang, gets the man through, should have a freebie, but MSN turns on a dime. Teammate goes down, looks for the wallbang and connects it as well. MSN with a triple inside of the site has saved the round. DomiNation looked like they were in a lot of trouble there, but MSN lightning fast on the reaction and then the spray connection as well to find the wallbang off an AK-47. Huge amount of damage output. So we see the pause coming in, and yeah, there's some big decisions to be made now. As you said, Rusty, this time saving again. I mean, last round we were talking about, you got 2 players saving, they've disconnected their economy, you've got a force. This time Rusty didn't really have a choice. He ran out of time on the clock.
Yeah, this time around it's a bit more awkward of anything because they had ZTR and Joel on a double eco in the previous round, so I mean saving the weapons at least gave them something to work with. This time though, it's go for everyone so that they can buy in the next round, and it just leaves Rusty in a position where he probably won't be able to buy with them unless they can find the bomb plant and he can maybe get a few kills as well. So we'll see. A pause that doesn't appear to be a tactical pause, unfortunately. It's their first technical of the day. I'd say that's pretty lucky for a day of online CS.
That's not too bad. It's not too bad. Hopefully we'll get an update soon on the situation, but it's very early doors, but it does feel like DomiNation are playing just to the strengths of that previous game against NIP, right? Very individual heavy. Looking to just get the opening pick and bail on this CT side has been the default mode of operation, and it's working out in these initial moments. Got to imagine that at some point GODSENT will up the pace and start to really try and maybe pile the pressure on these proactive plays that we're seeing from the CT side. for now we wait and hope that we'll get some information soon on how this one's going to pan out. GODSENT hoping they'll get some information on how on earth they're going to make this buy happen. I mean, your options are, realistically, you can abandon Rusty and accept that next time you buy, his econ's going to be all out of whack because he's got 650, didn't get any loss bonus, so that's naff. Or you can at best pick up some armor, handful of tech 9s, maybe a bit of utility, and try maybe like a fast lower play with Rusty leading the charge and just hope that that AK sort of spirals backwards and you can pick it up on the fly and make something out of it. But either call is rough. There's no real good call to make in this situation. You've been left strung out by the fact you took so long to hit the upper sight that Rusty had to save. And it's a big call to make. It's early doors, but as you said, as we both said, GODSENT very CT-sided, DomiNation a little T-sided. So the way this first half goes could well decide who wins this first map. If GODSENT gets 6 or 7 rounds on their T-side, look very solid, then that should be plenty for them to get the conversion. If DomiNation can keep it relatively shut out, then that T-side, well, their T-side will be their strength, and you've got to imagine that they'll be able to pull through with the individuals. But luckily, the conjecture can finish, and the game will be getting back underway very shortly. The tech pool's not lasting too long for us, and we'll get to see what kind of a decision GODSENT want to make. It's firmly ball in their court as that clock rattles on down to 0. I've kind of talked myself into the idea of a half-buy investment, go for a fast play, but GODSENT don't seem too interested in it.
Oh, Draken's only got 1200 as well. He spent a little bit too much. He'll have 36 after this, so ideally, as I said before, they need a bomb plant to ensure that their buy is actually going to be decent in this next round. Even with it, they're going to be lacking utility, so yeah, it's a very difficult spot to be in. I maybe wouldn't have hated too much either if they went for it, as you were saying. Yeah, some pistols around an AK. Let's see what they can do. They're going to be east, moving in on towards mid together. I was going to say, with a potential to catch Badito, and indeed through the smoke as he falls away. Spammed down by the pistols. That's going to be an M4 now recovered as well. Unfortunately, they don't have Kevlar on any of the other players, but it will still be an extra rifle in their hands. It can't hurt.
Yeah, I think Joel got the early pre-fire dink out of the top com peak and kind of forced Badito's hand a little bit. He had to back away from the situation, knew he was vulnerable. Just didn't know quite how much so as the long play wraps onto his position, and now it's going to be a straight wrap out of long. CTs should have a decent idea this is coming. Pop flash goes out. There's no pre-fire to give the game away. Aaron, though, has dealt with the second prong of this attack, but it's now all out of long, all or nothing. Rusty gets one, but very quickly gutted. I think Rusty actually killed his teammate rather than getting one there, which is why there's still 4 players alive on the DomiNation side of things, as I've misread the kill feed, and it's not a good look. You would have hoped a little bit more there out of GODSENT, wouldn't you? Given the amount of firepower they've managed to upgrade onto, the fact they had 2 rifles swinging into that, you would have hoped they could have traded their way into the site and got a bomb plant, and if they had, the buy would have been a bit better than what it is now, which is 3 AKs, Draken dropping down to a scout, and Rusty, well, unfortunately for him, he's found himself with a deagle to try and make something out of this next round.
Oh, Rusty just got domed through smoke. That's a big rip. I think Aaron was just fading away as well as he took that kill for himself. Not bad at all. Flashes in towards connector from Badito, and well, it's pretty much perfect. Didn't expect a follow-up, unfortunately, as Etior just hit as well. So it was solid timing to be in position for the trade. But obviously, it is still a man advantage for now, sitting with DomiNation. GODSENT's hand looks like it's being forced a small bit as they group outside B. Not having the water control, though, makes it very difficult. They don't know if the players are still going to be pushed in there or if they've moved back towards the bomb site. And as we can see, they're both going to go peak monster now, it looks like. Perfect timing on that swing. Kamion mows down 3 of them. ZTR was getting ready to peek in on the right side, I think, as they came out, and just moved his crosshair as Kamion actually went for the peak himself. So, yeah, a little bit awkward. 4-2 for DomiNation. GODSENT don't get a lot done. They're back on towards an eco again. It should be 5-2 on the CT side for DomiNation without too much trouble.
Thought you'd seen GODSENT's boilerplate for a recovery there with that initial con play, because yes, he got caught, but the response was there, right? It was the trade kill, and that's what I think GODSENT need to do on this T side. It's just start finding those trades, start finding some efficiency. Unfortunately, the double monster swing caught them entirely off guard and made it look very foolish. As once again, as you said, back down onto the pistols for GODSENT. Not a bad little buy, though. P250s, Deagles, Tech, decent amount of util as well. They have got an execute in their back pocket if they want to deploy it. And potentially this upper site is the place where you'd want to give it a try. MSN on the angle with an AWP. Does have Badito to back him up on the AK-47, but there is a little bit of potential here for these guys to start getting run down. Plenty of pistols about, plenty of run and gun potential. If they can work their way to Divider without being spotted, which is very possible here, then it starts to get real ugly. There's the peak, the info spotted. They're going to swarm off the back of that. They need to clear the bathroom, so Lito is ready and waiting for this exact play, and as they swarm on past him, he is going to have the mother of all spray downs here. They're half thinking about it. There's a dink early on, but the AK is just getting a little much done. An early 2 for 1, although Joel does find a nice 1 dig off the back of that. Puts the pressure back onto the AWPer with a backstab coming, though. This one shouldn't get too much more awkward from here. There's Kamion ensuring he gets the backstab kill. Now, just on the proactive pistols, and whilst Joel does get 1, he's quickly traded away. The AWP will be saved. So not a bad result in terms of damage. We would have been hoping for a little bit more there, GODSENT.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't terrible, though, considering they didn't really have anything to work with. Now they get the full AKs. They have the op on towards Draken as well, which has definitely been missing so far. Might be a difference maker. MSN's at 6-3. He was, again, quite important for them in the NIP game. He's starting off decently here. Everyone is really on that CT side, so GODSENT need to come alive soon. No aggression really from the CT side other than a nade, I believe, towards mid from Badito in the initial moments. Happy to fall back, play relatively passively as they've gone for heavy presence over towards B. I think a stack even towards Graffiti. No, it was actually on the
it's a boost
jump
up.
peak here, yeah.
It's a boost to give him the peak. 4-man lean, but
Ooh.
Rusty's dealt with 1 early. And with the Condor open, they can't really afford to keep that assembled for too long, so they'll have to back out. MSN going down to big loss as well. Wanted the AWP into a peak. With Rusty getting the better of him, this lower site stack starts to look risky, and they're going to call a big play here. It's going to be a push out of the monster smoke. Hot flash over the top to get that control. They'll confirm that B is wide open. Nobody really home from the T side whatsoever. They'll take short control off the back of it. And all of a sudden, GODSENT are kind of stuck here. Draken does very well to catch the jump peak of Badito. For a split second there, GODSENT was stuck in connector with no control to really work their way out of it. But with that pick now, they've started their crawl on up towards the A site. Util will come over the top. Flashbangs are good. Rusty takes full advantage for the kill. And at this point, the backstab is going to be attempted by Kamion, but we've seen this a few times now. It should be traded out at the very least, and indeed it is. And at that call, Coolio will decide that he no longer wants anything to do with this round and will back away to save. So a nice little set play from GODSENT, benefiting off a couple of nice picks from Rusty and Draken, respectively.
Yeah, and thankfully taking this round convincingly as well, not just about scraping by, which was something that we've seen being a problem for NIP in their previous game versus DomiNation. Instead, 4 players standing, Coolio at least saving an op, which will be very useful in this next round. He'll get an M4 likely off MSN in return. They'll have pretty much everything they could ask for, but it's still going to cost them most of their money here on the CT side, so chance for GODSENT. Take 1 more round, you break DomiNation, you tie it up likely then a 5-5 as an eco would have to come in, and you have a chance to build this T side towards the 6 or 7 rounds that will make you feel really comfortable. Oh,
Wall bang attempt.
that was very close.
Very close to being spectacular, but as always with these things, close but no cigar doesn't really mean anything. If they hit it, we'll start screaming. More conservative setup in the opening moments here from DomiNation on the CT side. Kamion again toying with this monster play. But a standard 3-2, a little bit of a boost up from Aaron just to see if he can get any information. As of now, nobody really home for it on the T side. Draken has started watching it. The pop flash to try and enable them to peek on him. Works out, though. Draken looking the wrong way. Aaron will take full advantage to deal with Joel. DomiNation looking to flip the script from the previous round. The opening pick goes their way, and they want more blood as well. Look at the aggression. The CT side is just not going to relent. Kamion taking control outside of Monster. That allows for the rotation to come through, and now DomiNation, with 50 seconds left on the clock, are perfectly set to receive the hit of GODSENT.
Time is becoming a real issue now as well. Only 30 seconds left on the clock, meaning they need to go pretty much now, although they've pulled a ton of rotations up, I believe. Kamion seems to think he's on the flank, which is not quite the case as they've made their way down connector. This is going to be awkward. GODSENT might just have a nearly open bomb site. A bit of utility still in play as well that they're going to put down there. As the player who's dropped towards the pit, and he's actually taking the bomb out of play. That's going to be a real issue. There's only 10 seconds left, so Plopsky pretty much needs to recover and get on that plant right now if they want any hope. And it is not happening. Torn apart one by one. Kamion's flank eventually gets a chance to join in on the action as well. And revenge for DomiNation. They take a round immediately in return. They keep 4 alive themselves, just as GODSENT had in the previous round. And, well, at least since they've done that, they are able to buy once again. But DomiNation are keeping the pressure on here on the CT side.
I think we're starting to see why GODSENT might be a CT-sided team on Overpass. I hate to say it, but they are running the clock awful low and not really getting very much with it. You see DomiNation are the ones playing proactively, they're the ones taking map control away. And GODSENT don't really seem to have any until the dying seconds of the round, and they seem to be a little short on information, short on ideas. 6-3 though, not a bad opening set, and still opportunity with the rifle buy out to stabilize. Not peeking into an AWP like that though, you won't. Plopsky first to go down. Swinging out a long and easy pick for MSN, and well, immediately you see a very similar stance. Just back away from that angle. Don't let the AWP get run down. Let Bodito take it instead on the rifle. And it's a question of how aggressive does he want to get, because we've seen these double sucker punches landed a couple of times now by DomiNation, where the initial aggression is then complemented by a second push somewhere else. In this case, at the exact same place to try and grab a kill. And Draken just caught completely off guard by the positioning of Bodito on half an off angle there behind the half wall. An early 3-on-5, and DomiNation again. Exact same situation, right? 50 seconds left on the clock. Very little map control for GODSENT. DomiNation have got plenty of idea what's going on. It's just about cleaning up these final few kills now. Rusty's going to go for a wander and hope that he can take this fight off of Coolio, which he will not.
Running into a brick wall over these last couple of rounds, unfortunately. Looks like they might even just consider the save. I think that's what's going on already. 7-3. It's about to be Eco most likely for GODSENT as well, even with the 2 weapons being saved over. They can't really afford to force it up, so 8 most likely for DomiNation. GODSENT will have the chance to at least take a few kills with the weapons they're bringing forward, but that's likely all. DomiNation are off to a fantastic start here. And as you said, this was kind of the map we didn't exactly know what to expect from them. This is GODSENT's map choice. We know they're going to be pretty solid on Inferno. We've seen them beat Nip on it. We've seen them have a fantastic performance against NIP on Ancient. It was Overpass that was a big question mark for me, and right now they are looking good.
Are they looking good, or are GODSENT looking blunt, or somewhere in the middle?
It could be a bit of both, for sure. It contributes to them looking better.
Yeah, it does when they're sort of taking these. I mean, you've seen it a few times now from GODSENT. They're taking these sort of 1-by-1 peaks, right? They're peaking the angle. There's not really a trade in place for it. There's not really anyone there to take advantage of a player out of position if they do get caught. And then the round sort of rides on it. You saw it in their second round or third round where Draken gets 1 on a jump peak. It's a really nice shot, don't get me wrong. And Rusty catches Kamion on his angle as he looks to transfer over the right side of Monster CT side. But that's just 2 1v1s that they've won. And from there, they springboard the round together. Problem is then, when they don't win those 1v1s, there just sort of isn't a plan B. There isn't the trade in position, as you see here. Bodito early on has just found a free entry onto Plopsky, despite there being 3 players there. No real damage taken in response, no trade found. With a two-man long setup ready and waiting to receive the T side, this suddenly becomes very, very difficult for GODSENT to get anything going at all. That helps.
Yeah, I mean, Draken hasn't had too many opportunities so far, but he punishes that long aggression, ties it back up in a 4-on-4, and gives GODSENT hope that they haven't really seen over these past few rounds. MSN, I think, forced to retreat back from the initial connector aggression that he had put in. Instead, we might see them, I was going to say, pushing out through Monster to get some control and info, but no, instead, just a solid two-man setup on Monster, but unfortunately, that's not where the kills or the fights are coming in for the moment. Second pick for Draken in the exact same spot, I believe. But it does seem like they might still want to end it on B.
Brave call to make. This setup is ready-made for a B hit. The hard counter is heading out short, and for now, that looks like a decent call. Problem is there is support coming in. Bodito gets 2 from his elevated angle before Rusty trades, and there was no way they were ever going to expect Kamion. This should have been a slam dunk of a round, and instead, again, it's DomiNation finding the kills. Bodito had to go down on the trade, didn't. Kamion had to go down on the trade, didn't. If you're going to make that call, if you're going to go into a site, you've got to trade your way in cleanly, and GODSENT again having problems with that.
I don't know what's up right now, GODSENT. We didn't get to see their initial game. Maybe they had a bit of an easier one. Obviously, DomiNation had to work hard to get their victory over NIP. And I think that just had them a little bit more warmed up coming into this, because GODSENT even got off to an okay start, but once the guns came out, it has been all DomiNation. Again, they don't even have rifles here themselves. They're back on pistols and Kevlar. Decent utility, sure, but they've already lost a man over towards Connector.
Look at the aggression as well.
Solid peak, yeah, as you said, they've got so much control. They have 4 players around B, including the control in towards water right now. So these pistols are going to struggle. Never mind. Joel with the run and gun. Oh my god, what has happened?
Okay.
4 instantaneous kills just come in. B is completely overrun. They don't get a single kill on that defense.
Well, that's one way to announce yourselves on the T side, I suppose. Running in with Tech-9s and Deagles, finding 3-4 quick headshots, and then just getting a free plant out of nothing. And that will be a 4th round on the board for GODSENT. There's no way in hell MSN's going to be getting anything done in this one. Looked like they were absolutely set on the DomiNation side of things. Maybe, if we're being critical, the fact that they had 3 players in towards short, not necessarily the best player in the world to receive that hit, but just seemed to get caught by the fact there was a molly in front of their faces and players flying behind it with pistols in hand, and some lightning fast headshots out of the tech. The RNG favouring the Swedes this time round, grabs them a 4th, and a lifesaver, as you said, because 4 rifles recovered into the next round. That's an instant boost to the economy. See 4 players with plenty of cash in the bank. Draken will even be able to get his AWP out again. And if GODSENT can take this one, well, DomiNation suddenly on the verge of being broken, and a huge opportunity presents itself to the T side.
Yeah, I mean, that kind of came out of nowhere. Swarmed B, and within 3 seconds, pretty much had overrun the entire bomb site without even any shots being fired from DomiNation. It seemed like they had the chance to. It's crazy. Either way, a bit of a slower round once again from GODSENT. We'll see if this pays off. They did wait it out, in fairness. They were able to take the map control and then just swarm B in the end. Again, DomiNation aren't too aggressive, so they can slowly creep their way forward, taking this control. At least over towards B, that's the case. There is a player pushed up in the back rooms, and then the op back on that planter on long corner.
Feels like, again, though, those same sort of problems are presenting themselves. 1 minute and 5 left on the clock. GODSENT just starting to work their way into bathrooms control. Bodito well flashed in by Aaron. Able to grab an opening pick. Wants more blood as well, and just catches ZTR looking completely the wrong way. The round again gutted. CT's able to retreat. No trade could be found, and a 3-on-5 where GODSENT, well, let's face it, looking vastly undersupplied. They're going to try and charge on into this B site. Plopsky and Joel have done well to grab a couple of kills on it. Potentially open up an avenue to that bomb plant. Bomb is going to be dropped inside of the site. Rusty should be in a position to get it down. That Molotov could come in, but a little too late to do any real work. So a 2-on-3 bought for Rusty. And Plopsky, the Molotov will keep Rusty stuck inside of that site, however. And this afterplant now starts to look very sketchy. Plopsky, Rusty, they want to play together. They want to swing it together. They bought the 2-on-2, make it 1 as Rusty grabs Benito out of heaven. And there's the double swing again. That is more like it from GODSENT. Playing well together as a unit. Plopsky and Rusty swinging the angles in parallel. Able to just catch too many bodies, not enough crosshairs. A 5th round on the board. An economic breaker as well, as MSN is pulling the plunge of forcing into this one. Going to be an ugly force towards the death of this first half, and that might be just the break GODSENT needed.
Yeah, I mean, it was close coming down to the 1-on-2, but they make it work. That's all that matters. And as you said, they're finally getting towards breaking that economy there on the side of DomiNation. 6 or 7. I mean, it's possible they could come out with 7 still. And as we said, with them being a pretty CT-sided team, that would be an amazing recovery. MSN, though, it all relies on him taking some pressure off with a kill or 2 here early on. He's been quite patient around connector, but the kill didn't come his way, and eventually will start to back things up a little bit, although I think he's still hanging around connector, but he went off the angle and tries to creep back into it. Punished big time.
Big kill to find as well. CT Orps do a lot of heavy lifting on Overpass. That one removed from the equation, especially in these kind of buys. Big win for the T side. Aggression has been called as the counter, though. We've seen this a few times now. DomiNation taking that short control allows them the heavier stack up on A. Going to be tested, though. Bomb outside of B. They're looking to group for this exact play. They want to hit it onto the lower site. They know there was the potential for this short play, but Kamion ready and waiting for it. And again, that trade not quite there for Rusty. So Kamion is able to escape into the site itself relatively freely, screaming now that the rotation has to come on down to this lower site. They have to get here in time. ZTR catches Kamion completely out in no man's land and actually doubles it up onto Benito as well. At this point, the round should be gone and lost. A FAMAS and a recovered AWP to be saved across would be a nice result for the last round of this first half, but GODSENT, a late recovery, a sketchy recovery, but one that they're finally starting to find the mark on. And it may well be enough at this point. 6 rounds on the T side, looking for 7 at the half. May well be enough to get them over the line.
Looks like it will be. I mean, stumble from DomiNation that just lets things spiral completely out of control. Am I good? Can you hear me?
Yeah. I got you.
Oh, can you hear me? I had a weird lag spike for a moment there. My game completely frozen and such. Yeah. 6 on the board for GODSENT now after DomiNation had, what, an 8-3 lead. It looked like they were on track for a dominant CT side. That's no longer possible. Instead, GODSENT have brought it up to already a pretty decent position, considering we expect them to have most of their rounds come on that CT side. The fact that 7 is very possible right now is going to be a scary position for DomiNation, because going into that second half, if GODSENT then get the pistol round, they could start running away with it.
Fortunately, it does look like you've jinxed us, and we've got another tech coming in now. Did well, Aaron, to hold on to that AWP. Chased down by a handful of A-goes right at the death there. Hold on to it. Kept the M4, kept the AWP, which are going to form the backbone of what is going to be a very sketchy buy for DomiNation in the last round of this first half. You're going to need those 2 rifles to sing, because there's not going to be a lot else to work with. Aaron and Coolio could both drop FAMASs, maybe, if you wanted to lean that way. Go for 1 MP9 at the death, or you go 3 SMG heavy, pick up the util. Look to play around it. Those would be the kind of questions answered once we get out of this tech pause. Hopefully not too long. But it's interesting, isn't it? Because it doesn't feel like GODSENT have got a lot done, and when you look at the kills, the numbers don't feel like they've got very much done at all. You know, you've got Kamion on 15, Benito and Aaron on 11. Next lowest is the opening for Rusty and Joel. That's the first time you see GODSENT players mentioned in that. And then you've got 7 for MSN. That's matched by Plopsky. 6 for ZTR, matched by Coolio. And 5 for Draken. So they're not chiming in all that consistently, but they're getting the job done on GODSENT's side of things. And I think that's going to have to be, well, they'll have to satisfy themselves with it for now. 6 rounds on T side of Overpass is a pretty good result for them. Does look like we're starting to get players buying up now as well, so can't imagine it will be too much longer until we get into this last one. It does look like the boys on DomiNation are starting to buy things together. Handful of MP9s, Deagles. Does look like we've now got some production technical issues to match the game technical issues. Dean has just dropped out, so I'm presuming he's gone completely. Fingers crossed the Irish internet is back sooner rather than later. Have gone for the heavier buy of the two, though, over on the CT side of things. AWP and the M4A1 saved across. FAMAS for Aaron, a couple of MP9s for Kamion and Badito to try and work this last round of the first half to some kind of a workable situation. What's the call? Where is the aggression, the play? Feels like you'd expect to see Kamion and Badito go for something very out of pocket here to try and put those MP9s in a fight up close and personal. And expect the same old passive beginnings from the T side of GODSENT, and indeed it is going to be. Coolio and Badito charging through short. Flashes are good. The AK spray just a little better on the initial kill. ZTR does very well to trade and double it. Coolio and Kamion taken out of the equation. That was the call. That was the play. DomiNation wanted to take outside monster control. ZTR almost single-handedly denies it. Aaron and MSN left. The tech pause was called because of a nosebleed, and wow, GODSENT may have just landed a punch right to the face of DomiNation in the last round of this first half. Gotta try something cheeky. See if maybe there's a little bit of space somewhere. They've got aggressive into short. We've seen this a few times. That will allow MSN to rotate up. The problem is he hasn't got anyone else in support this time. As much as you can make that read, the very process of making it leaves you a man down everywhere else. When you've only got 2 players left on the server, that could be a tough cookie to crack. Push out monster from ZTR. Has started to confirm that B is open. And that might bait them right back in for a multi-kill here. It's going to pull them down, Con. And right into the hands of Aaron here. How many can he get is the question. How long can he stay alive? Draken is having none of it. No scope in towards Aaron, and MSN last up knows surely that it has to be the B site at this point in the 1v4, but that bomb is going to go down. HE, sure, it'll chip away, but it won't do more than that, and ZTR is ready and waiting for this push, and there we go. 8-7 as we head to the half. A narrow lead for DomiNation, but GODSENT firing on all cylinders on the T side. Well, at 8-7, we normally describe the game as being about as close as it can physically be, but on T side of Overpass, a 7-round spree feels like a godsent moment for GODSENT. Buys them a lot of space, a lot of breathing room. A well-placed pistol here could put them well on their way to finishing this first map. 2 players. Raid bossed up with the Julies. One inside the bathrooms. Look like he may well be tested here. Early one tap, 99, not quite enough for Draken, but the second finds Badito, and then the lone stray bullet takes out the man who was dinked in the earlier engagement. Plopsky's Julie's good for another, and as it gets scrappy, Coolio, yes, he takes out the support, but Plopsky still alive and kicking, still firing off. All those extra bullets coming in handy as he grabs a 3-piece, and the long setup decimates any domination plans in the pistol. The platform has been set. MP9s for 3, couple of rifles for Plopsky and Draken. GODSENT have got a read on this, that without the extra investment of the bomb going down, we won't be seeing the full buy, and indeed it seems to be the case. Domination, by and large, trusting the default pistols to do the work in this one. Just the one P250 for Aaron. You almost catch the timing there onto ZTR. I think he had thought he had more support from Joel than he necessarily got, but the kill comes through regardless. They can back out with their man advantage, and at this point, with the Glocks ringing in their ears, they should have a pretty decent idea, Dean, that this one's not going to be too difficult to get past.
I mean, basically all Glocks there is that P250, but probably not going to get much of a chance. Draken's being supported here by a teammate so that he can fall back away so that they don't risk giving an M4 over, which of course would be a big issue, especially when it's their only M4. GODSENT looking for a clean round here. I mean, they had a great recovery as that previous half went on, and now they're getting off to a strong start here on the CT side as well, where we know that they're a lot stronger than they are on the T side. So it's a bit of a scary position for Domination to be in. Especially since they went towards that Inferno map choice. I still think that could come back to bite them. It's a very strong map for GODSENT.
Sort of feels like it came out of left field as well. Really feels like it was encouraged by the result against NIP.
Yeah, which was solid, I mean, yeah, but they won both pistols and it was still a close one, so... risky pick for sure.
Risky moment for GODSENT.
A lot of weaker weapons there for GODSENT.
Yeah, MP9s, FAMAS. Pretty much the exact same buy they brought into the last round. Up against fully fledged AK force. A little limited in the util, sure, but everything else is spot on. And Draken is in a very proactive position with the M4A1. He goes down almost instantly. Plopsky does well to trade, and that is actually the bomb. Not really in a position that this CT side can afford to hold, however, as they do back out of the bathrooms. At the very least, it's information gathered, and you can see the CT side off the back of it increasingly confident that this is going to be an A-side play. Plopsky wants the fight. Pushes up close to his own smoke, set on top of the bin. He gets all half a one-way. Nothing seen, though. Nothing seen and nothing gained, as instead Domination will take the long control, and ZTR, well, if he swings this, he's surely in trouble. Kamion wasn't expecting it close, though. Gets caught napping ever so slightly on the corner. The man advantage starts to swing back in favor of this CT side, as MSN still needs to get out of long, still needs to get that AK in a position to try and do some real damage. There is a flank coming in, and Coolio has made good work of it, but ZTR and Joel continuing to make these MP9 sing run and gun as they buy the 2v1. There is a fast flank coming in as well. Rusty on a recovered AK on the backstab, spots his man, taps him away, and GODSENT have their 10th. At the very least, the bomb does go down, so a little bit of economic reinvestment for Domination, but that was the bonus round, and it's a very smooth one as well. They managed to save across 2 AK-47s into the next. That's a great result for GODSENT.
Yeah, despite only living with 2 players, they've still basically came out with better weaponry than they had going in. They had the 1 M4, 3 MP9s, and a FAMAS, I believe, so... Yeah, not bad at all. Up to 10 double digits in play already. DomiNation with the bomb plant could just about scrape together a buy here. Do they want to, though, is the question. Yeah, it looks like they do. There's going to be very little utility. It's a risky play, but it does give them the chance to potentially come alive here in the early stages before it gets too out of hand. One round would leave a couple players kind of short on money. ZTR and Plopsky wouldn't be able to quite buy with everyone else, so it would be a bit of a mixed bag if they do win this.
Oh, risky.
Gets dinked up. Yeah, Draken forced back. There is help around Connector, though. Plopsky gets flashed in for the peak. Draken's still actually sticking around. And, okay, manages a headshot on that. Why not? It is slight overkill. Will get returned on by MSN in the end. And yeah, as you said, the A-bomb site's open and off is even being recovered. And well, suddenly this becomes a little bit scary, even if the numbers did still favor GODSENT, but that's no longer the case.
Should be a free plant here. 3 on 3, they can't afford to be too keen on the peak either. The nade does good work, but it's not going to be enough. 2 rifles recovered on Coolio and Aaron. Question is, do they know where they're coming from on the GODSENT side of things? That long flank from ZTR very nearly paid off. The nade does a huge amount of work, but it's up against the AWP, and that bomb, ever ticking, is putting the pressure on this CT side. There's plenty of kits. There's good utility as well, but there's a couple of key fights to be won. They want to stand a chance of taking this one. Coolio wants the angle up against ZTR. The timing on that could be everything. He gets his man. That bomb is already so far ticked, though. They've got to get on that bomb yesterday, and they've just been too slow on it. Aaron can deny the first, and that's job done. DomiNation with the pistol half by. Get the miracle. As you said, one that does a lot of economic damage to the GODSENT bank accounts as well. They charged into that upper site. I think Draken guilty of hanging around a little too long there. The 2-com play, maybe not the right call for that exact buy, and it's put the pressure right back on GODSENT.
Yeah, keeping it competitive at the very least. Pretty much neck and neck. Again, not something that GODSENT really had to go through on that first series where they had a pretty straightforward time. Took a 2-0 and we're done before we even started our third map, I believe. Boost doesn't pay off. It's always an issue as well as you're forced to give up a ton of map control, as you can't really get aggressive anywhere when you need 4 players for the boost. The one player who did decide to go out and get himself a bit of control is instantly shut down around the edge of that smoke. Kamion falls. It's an opening kill for GODSENT that's going to go unresponded. And there's just no control. DomiNation are all grouped outside B with no real option about what to do. There could be someone pushed up towards the playground for all they know. They had someone watching, but pretty passively.
Kamion has been the catalyst for a lot of good across both sides of DomiNation's Overpass so far as well. So losing him in that manner early on is going to sting. They're going to try and call a monster pop off the back of it. They will get the site. 2 men leaning in towards short, not really able to do too much about it. Molotov to try and deny the plant, but it's not quite close enough. It'll lick at the feet of Coolio, won't quite find him. ZTR goes down low, but he finds his mark. Buys the 3-on-5, and then again, it's going to be that same question of time, because we've seen it from GODSENT before. They burn the clock quickly. Too often, they are caught lacking by the counter. As they look to get this retake going, all 3 players, MSN the one to find the shot, but all 3 lurking around jail, lurking around monster, trying to make it as difficult as possible to dispatch of them. They're on the bomb now. ZTR is going to stick the mark. Aaron, he gets one, but Rusty's there for the trade. The defuse comes through in amongst the chaos. It's a little bit of luck, a little bit of fortune, but it is GODSENT with 11. And another one that asks big questions of DomiNation. Good loss bonus, though. They should be able to skim the buy together if they want it. MSN is going to be dropped across the AWP, but they are starting to run out of opportunities now. GODSENT is starting to pick them off at the edges more often than not.
Yeah, a bit of back and forth. I mean, normally it's not very good for the CT side, but it's not great for DomiNation considering their position either. And again, they spend a lot of time trying to get that boost in. And Nade's going to do some decent damage, most likely. Yeah, MSN takes the brunt of it. There's not really going to be any follow-up peaks that can be punished here by the up of MSN for the moment anyway. No need for it. Plopsky will stick around in the long bathrooms. We've seen this position played a couple times though. I think Draken struggled with it earlier on. We'll see. It's likely one that will be expected somewhat. Has the help of Draken.
They're going to try and boost that AWP up into an angle. Aaron spotted Plopsky as well. Draken, as you said, holding for the swing out. Yet to be tested. There it comes and there it goes. Nice shot from Draken. Plopsky again looking to abuse this smoke. Does leave him very isolated in those bathrooms, though. He has to play very proactively to get onto it. Hot flash in this time is good. There's 2 kills up for grabs. Plopsy with the scroll wheel jump doesn't quite finish his meal, but the damage is good. MSN low single digits. At this point, that should be enough to finish the job, if not for Aaron, who's worked his way out of the long smoke. Badito's dealt with Joel, and, well, there's tags everywhere. Draken even switching to the USP to finish his. And Badito will finally have to concede, but a little bit of carnage very nearly backfired. Badito working the lower side, I think caught the CTs just a little off guard there. ZTR caught knife in hand. Fortunate to get away with that one, but get away with it they do. 12 on the board for GODSENT, 4 more, and they take their map pick.
I mean, saving the AK might even prompt them into a buy that probably wouldn't be a good idea here, so I'm not so sure that it was great that he carried it forward. I mean, at the very least, they have full loss bonus, so a couple of kills, he'll ensure his AK and some utility are going to be in play in this next round. He's actually spent what he had, but I definitely need at least a bomb plant out of this to ensure everyone's buying. I mean, 13-9 before the guns come out again here for DomiNation, most likely. At that point then, if they don't win out this next gun round, it's pretty much over and done with here on Overpass, and already an opening kill for Draken. Takes a bit of damage, sure, but he can fall away and just let his teammates handle the rest of these now. Knowing that they're not up against weaponry, really. With damage. Forced MSN out into the crosshair ZTR as well, and, well, they're cleaning things up as you'd expect.
Yeah, exactly the kind of round you'd expect against this kind of a buy. Handful of picks, take the fights. Try not to lose too much to it, and, well, at the moment, with Draken falling back, well set to do so. Aaron and Kamion just hoping they can maybe pick a couple more off. Make it just that little bit expensive for the CT side. Aaron's almost got half a gap here. Should be able to work his way all the way up to the headshot angles before he's really spotted out by anyone. And then it is Draken. Tagged up, so as that first eagle shot rings off, he knows he's got to be careful. Aaron's found the headshot, Kamion with one more. Fortunately, the teammate does go down, so Aaron is left solo with the bomb out in no man's land, which Plopsky will very quickly correct. But it is a little sketchy, and it is a couple of kills, as we said. All you could really hope for in that situation, a little bit of economic damage and something to maybe capitalize on if and only if they can get this next rifle by rolling, because they are starting to run out of opportunities now, DomiNation. We said of their previous time meeting GODSENT, it was 2-0, but both maps were close fought. This one is starting to really slip away from them.
Yeah, a bit more than starting at this point. It's kind of a last hurdle here, potentially, for GODSENT. If they overcome this one, then path to the finish line is relatively clear on this map. Inferno up next also, as we said, is sure one where we just seen DomiNation have success versus NIP, but it's one of GODSENT's strongest maps. Very slow once again on this T side from DomiNation.
Interesting call on the CT setup as well. A 3-man bathrooms play.
Yeah, I mean, they've been pretty heavy around bathrooms in general, normally with the presence of at least one player, so they won't expect quite this much, but they should still be cautious that players will likely be around there. And yeah, Aaron doesn't get caught off guard. Sure, he takes a dink, but he drops ZTR, and for the moment gives them a 4-on-4. I'm not sure how long it's going to last, rather.
Well, the problem with this setup is they can't really rotate off of it, right? They're so committed to these bathrooms, and they've got no idea where Aaron's gone now. So they've got no ability to back out of this setup. It's entirely on to Rusty and Draken to hold this lower site until they start getting proactive on the CT side, until they start pushing the buttons, and that's what they're going to do now. Plopsky and Joel will start to work the problem, start to realize that there isn't anybody up here. and that they need to get down to B and provide some support sharpish, because those smokes are going to start to fade. That HE, well-timed, might well deal with Aaron. Indeed it does. That should be the warning sign. They know he was up on the upper site, but Rusty is alone. He's got a lot to do. Flashbang from Joel is good. Buys the extra bit of space. The 1v2 now for Coolio. Bomb is dropped in no man's land. He will be able to recover, but doesn't spot the backstab coming in time. 13 seconds to get into that site. He's got to plant this bomb now. And slowly but surely, the net will start to move in around him. Plopsky on the backstab. Needs to catch this timing well, though. Coolio, the longer he doesn't face someone headed the other way, the more time he'll spend thinking that there is that backstab coming, and he very nearly opens it up. Gets Joel in heaven, but can't quite find with or deal with Plopsky, who gets his mark, gets 14 on the board, and puts a few more questions in the domination handbook. How do you get past this? Because once again, it is GODSENT and that CT side continuing to build from strength to strength.
Yeah, I mean, does just look like GODSENT are the stronger of the two teams right now here on Overpass. Last second tactical pause being called in. I don't blame them. It's their first one as well. Okay, yeah, I forgot we only had technicals up at this point. Right?
Yeah.
Seems a bit late, maybe. See. They'll have some chances still to get back into this, but one mistake really, and that's probably going to be it for them, so it needs to be damn near perfection on this comeback now.
Not really left themselves any breathing room, have they?
Everyone's fragging pretty well on both sides. 11 for the bottom fragger there on DomiNation, and then 18 for the top fragger on GODSENT. Everyone's contributing, everyone's fragging. It's just been coming together much better for GODSENT. Taking those important swing rounds. Heavy towards A with 3 players here early on.
Wanting to set Draken up for the peak, I think. And yeah, that is the exact call. He's going to back away, but there's a timing on this. Dito wants the angle. Will be allowed to take it. And that 3A lean has turned into a con player. ZTR in good position. The flash a little off its mark, but still good enough. Coolio able to open up onto Joel. And the counter is almost immediately. ZTR starts pushing the issue connector. There are bodies watching for this. ZTR should have heard the footsteps. Doesn't, is punished for it. Aaron gets the second, and this is a huge opportunity now for domination. 3 on 5. Courtesy of a couple of small half mistakes, you have to say, from the CT side. Make it a third. Rusty not able to finish the kill that his teammate started. Coolio gets another. And almost immediately, you can see Plopsy's only got one thing on his mind, and that is keeping his hands on his rifle.
Yeah, finally a sign of life. We hadn't really seen any in quite a while. At the very least, a couple of saved weapons go forward for GODSENT, but considering how many rounds they had taken in a row, how much control they've had on the CT side, they really didn't build up too much economy, taking constant damage. So, I mean, just about maybe dropping over and buying around with what they're saving forward now, but it won't be great. And if domination can take this next round, suddenly they're on track to likely go up towards 12, maybe even 13 before they have a real challenge once again. Only Drake can drop 1. I don't know if it's worthwhile. I think they might just have to go for the eco.
Feels that way. Just try and enable those 2 rifles, right? I think that will be the call. Tough spot with the CT economy. You need a lot to invest, but they're going to go for it. They're going to give it a try. Just despite us casters, the MP9 into Joel's hands. FAMAS. M4A1 with ZTR, who's done well to get some utility. Question is, how do you change the play? It looks very similar to the previous round. This time, no bathrooms player, though. Just that one rifle of Plopsky. He will be forced to retreat off the angle. With Draken posted in the long bathrooms, he's got to stay, or on the half wall rather, he's got to stay here or hereabouts. Can't afford to let that control slip the way of the T side, and he knows it with that smoke shallow to cut off one side of the bathrooms, half playing around it. Draken will finally be forced to fall back. And Plopsky should very shortly follow suit. So a nice opening set from DomiNation. Dealt with the initial bathrooms control, a good amount of information taken away from the CT side. Question is now, with just under a minute left on the clock, what's the call? Looks like they want to do something cheeky with the utility here. HE's over the top, hit the pillar, don't really find anything. Joel does take the second on the chin, down to 36. That's a little dangerous. This lower sight looking to be tested here, and GODSENT really have no idea this is coming. They have no information to that effect, so it's going to be on these three low-buy players. The three who forced are going to have to get it all done here. Rusty spots it with the FAMAS. The Molotov goes down onto Monster, but the bulk of the push is coming out short here. Coolio dealt with by the MP9, but the trades are quick, and it buys at least a 1v2 for Draken. ZTR doing all he can. Finds a couple, but not quite enough. 13 seconds left. That bomb will be worked into a plant. As it's a 2-on-1 for the AWP. He's shown his hand towards heaven. They know where he last was. The Molotov will force him out into the open. The tick will give away his positioning, and that will give away the round. You've got to imagine that will be it now. Aaron has got posted position for any kind of re-aggro, and Draken's not interested in any. 11 on the board. The force spike dealt with by DomiNation. The lower sight hit well and hit hard. And they're dragging this T-side back, kicking and screaming, Dean. They are getting right back into this one.
Yeah, B definitely seems to be where they're going to continue to find the success. At least that's where they found this so far. As I had said before, though, there's still no room for really any mistakes at all to be made. They lose one round, they could be all done. So they do need to keep it together. That kill from Draken at the very least lets him save an op forward, but it's an eco otherwise. Couple pistols, maybe even then they can't really quite afford it. So it should be a fairly straightforward round unless Draken absolutely pops off, which sure he's capable of doing, but really shouldn't be it shouldn't be happening. He's been having a solid enough game, a consistent game where he's been there for those 1 or 2 kills. We haven't seen him pulling off any crazy multi-kills.
He's been a little bit hot and cold in his career, hasn't he, Draken? Consistent in this one, though, and as you said, the only player with anything to really work with into this next round. Plopsky's got P250 by the looks of things. Rusty the same, but that's going to be about it. So really relying on that AWP. If they want to get some heavy lifting done in this round, that will be the way it comes through. Maybe pick off a couple rifles to be recovered. Joel actually invests late into a 5.7 as well, so a handful of upgraded pistols to assist. Question is, where do you put that big angry gun to have the most impact? Initially, it looks like they want to stack it in towards connector. 3 players there, most of the pistols in tow. They're going to try and isolate the fights early. Aaron does go down. That's a rifle to be recovered. A nice little win. That flashbang in is good for the second, and Rusty grabs it with open arms. The pistols start to converge and start to capitalize. Rusty gets another off the P250. A couple of well-placed swarms and well-placed flashes have bought them a 2-on-5 here. Draken even has a kit saved across from the previous round, so despite the fact they're all on the lower site and they are going to have to play this one retake, they're well positioned to do so. The smokes go over the top. Badito will at least confirm the site is open, and that should be a plant now for the AWP of MSN, but they're going to plant bankside. They're so conscious of a flank that they've planted for the CTs almost. Badito will work his way into the bank. MSN, playing in and around the site itself, is watching for the flank that never comes. Badito gets one, though. And that starts to open things up. Draken now working the angle, and Joel on the 5.7, a kill apiece, and the round is over. This was P250s and 5.7s invested around a saved AWP that really didn't have to do too much, Dean. It was the pistols that did so much of the heavy lifting.
Yeah, and early on, and it was just DomiNation trying to fight back uphill, really. Collapses. I said they didn't have room for any mistakes to be made. I did not think it was going to happen right there, and well, they shut it down 15-11, 4 rounds in a row. It's doable. Sure, the economy's still okay. They still have their guns here, so thankfully they aren't reset or anything, but that's got to be a bit of a knock to their confidence that would have only really been starting to build. So let's see. What's the plan for domination now? Again, pretty standard default, I think. A little bit of control around middle. Mostly, though, the presence was out again, but I think that boost coming in, it has not paid off at all for them. Not even once.
Give it a go. Keep knocking at the door this time. A little bit of space to work with. Not a hole. They are going to try and just creep their way through Monster. And that's the one portion of the map that GODSENT really aren't monitoring particularly. As a double flash comes through, they'll work their way out of the angle. ZTR picked out of heaven. Kamion with the freebie, and suddenly this lower site's up for grabs. 2 men in towards short, can't really do anything about the push on through. Smoked off from it entirely. The AWP of Draken has at least rotated its way in towards heaven, but that'll be smoked off as well. Smoke goes deep, he can't fight that. And suddenly this CT side are going to be playing a 4v5 retake into the lower site. They have got a flank going. They are planning a boost as well. Joel wants the fight. He wants to try and pick someone off on the cross, but not seeing anything yet. Just spots Aaron as he works his way in towards CT. This boost has to pay off soon. They haven't got the manpower to keep it up for too much longer. Draken picks off the first. The late push from Bodito is found, but that boost is yet to find any purchase, and the bomb all the while is slowly but surely ticking away from this one. Plopsky, yes, he's on the flank, but he's a long way away, and he's got to deal with the AWP of MSN yet. The bomb now halfway gone. I think at this point, the CT side have consigned themselves to just holding these players inside of the site, because this retake has taken too long and not got far enough. It's a goner. So it will just be for the exits. It will just be for the late play. Joel grabs one, but it's going to be a 12th for domination. 3 away from the OT.
Just try and make it costly, but that doesn't even quite work out. With the saved weapons, though, they're fine. Lopsky is the only one that wouldn't have been able to buy, so, I mean, Rusty and ZTR could technically buy themselves. They'll probably be dropped, though, so they can get full utility and maybe have a little bit left over. Just keep that money even. Only 3 to go now for domination. It's very achievable to actually get this into overtime. Win this one, and at that point, there's at least 2 players that can't buy. It's probably some pistols in Kevlar, maybe a hero rifle or 2. And, yeah, maybe 1 or 2 more real gun rounds that GODSENT would have available, so this is doable. Early mid-aggression from GODSENT. Didn't really find anything from it, though, and instead now it's probably over towards long, where he might find some success indeed. Lands the shot on Bodito, who is seeming a little bit carefree, maybe, as he made his way up long.
I think that's a very apt description of the way he swung that. Nonchalant in his walk up, and well punished for it. Slow take of short has come through from domination. You can see the CTs have fallen off of it, but there's an off-angle boost coming in. And if it had just been a little earlier, they would have caught the AWP completely unawares. Instead, it remains 4v5. Smoke refreshes deep in towards Monster, though, and look at the stack that this CT side are able to pull off because of the aggressive positioning of Draken, because of the fact he picked off that long player and there was nothing else there. They're sticking with this 4th player in towards heaven, and that makes it all too easy for Rusty. Contests the Monster angle, double spray down Joel with 1 more, and this has fallen apart. MSN, nothing he can do. He's picked off. It's 16-12. GODSENT putting to bed the demons of the last time these 2 teams met, getting it done on their map pick, and getting it done without the need for any overtimes as well.
Yeah, obviously it is a completely different map pool this time around. We don't have Nuke.